Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Boots After Dark. I am here with two of my really good friends, my boy Mike Cooper. He's up in my top left, and then my boy Killer Sam K, my bad, is down on the bottom screen for me today.
I'm back after missing 2 episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Cooper's been doing his own thing. He's got the new baby and everything. But we are here. I'm live from Red Rock Bowling Lanes because, guys, I'm a man of many talents. So I'm doing bowling league as we're doing this episode. But today we finally have the finals matchup set. We finally have Knicks versus the Spurs. Spurs have home court advantage, which I think is going to play into their advantage because I don't want to go play at Madison Square Garden. That's for damn sure. So good on the Spurs, good on the Knicks. We're going to talk plenty about that today. You guys are in for a really good episode. Let's get right into it, boys. Sam, what do you got, bud?
All right, baby. Let's talk how these teams got here. Last time we talked, we were in the conference finals. Since then, we had 2 series happen. We had the Knicks play the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll talk about that in a second. As all of America saw, Cleveland and their limited roster bowed out quick. And then we had maybe an all-time banger. What was the highest rated series between 2 teams since the 1998 finals between the 98 Chicago Bulls led by Michael Jordan in his last year there and the 98 Utah Jazz in the finals with John Stockton and Karl Malone. The highest rated series since was played between Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. It was, of course, a 7-game series. It, of course, was back and forth, up and down, filled with narratives, filled with toxicity, filled with beautiful basketball, filled with bad basketball. It was glorious.
It was that series, that Spurs Thunder series was a joy to watch.
So let's talk about it went 7 All-America watch. Let's talk about Wemby and the Spurs. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what this means, what is potentially going to happen, and what is happening. Victor Wembanyama is one of the most premier. So every year we have a draft. Every year we have great players coming to this league. There's been tons of great players that have come into this league for 40, 50 years. Victor Wembanyama might be one of the most special players we've ever seen come into this league. He is already close in his impact in his team to what Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal left all time. Is that special? You pick those guys. It takes a while because
Okay, Sam is gone. Okay, I think the basic gist of what Sam was saying is that we have a truly polarizing player in Victor Wembanyama. Finally, we have a new face of the league. He is going to be the face of the league, whether people like it or not, and everybody else is going to have to come after him. So he's polarizing. He set the tone in game 1 with the huge 40-point, 20 rebound a night game. And once he set the tone, you already knew this series was going to go 7. Oklahoma and San Antonio. You knew this series was going to go 7. He set the tone in game 1, and if the narrative hadn't been so set around the Thunder and the referees, we probably would have, appreciated if the Thunder would have won that game 7. But the problem, if the Thunder would have won, we would have had a totally different narrative that we would have been speaking, as opposed to just having a great final series between the Spurs. And so, Cooper, what did you think? How'd you like watching the conference finals?
I thought the conference finals was great. I mean, if you ask me, that's everything you want and then some of a conference final. You want 7 games. There's blowouts here and there. Both teams got one. At the end, it was a 7-game. Those teams did not like each other whatsoever. And I think that's be a budding rivalry for a very, very long time. And I think you're going to get that probably matchup too for years to come. If both teams
either in the second round or in the conference finals, you're going to get that matchup. So
Here's one I got for you. Would you compare it? This is kind of throwing it back a little bit to when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq. Would you compare it to like the Lakers and Spurs and the Lakers and Kings rivalry back in the early 2000s?
Great basketball right there.
You just got great basketball for 2 rounds every year between those teams. I mean, granted, but then you had Dirk up and coming with the Warriors in and out of it. You had some great teams in there too. The Suns as well. When the Suns were running and gunning and started that brand of basketball, you had some really good budding rivalries then, and I think you're starting to get that now. Like Thunder and Nuggets don't like each other. The T-Wolves and Nuggets don't like each other. The T-Wolves and Thunder don't like each other. The Spurs and Thunder
Warriors
don't like
and
each other.
Suns don't like each other.
Yeah, you're just starting to get some great rivalries all the way around, and that's what you want. And then you got the best 2 teams in the league, arguably, playing in a Western Conference final that went 7 games. That's everything and more you could ask for from an NBA perspective.
I couldn't agree more. I do agree with you. We're getting some really good rivalries coming out of this. Even in the East, we don't even have to talk about just the West. Even in the East, we're getting some really good rivalries. Philly and New York has always been a good rivalry. Boston and New York, those biggest rivalries that's always been. Now you're getting new rivalries with like Detroit coming into the and they're not going anywhere for the next couple of years. As long as they got Dave Cunningham, they're clearly going to be one of the better teams. I think you're right. We're just getting great basketball, and the summertime is sad because it's the end of basketball era, but we also are just blessed with a ton of great, just high-level basketball, and that's what Victor Wembanyama is this basketball. They just present basketball all the way around. Even in the games that they've lost, I thought they had real good teams.
I agree. Anywhere to the Thunder and Spurs not like each other. Thunder and T-Wolves not like each other. The Nuggets not like each other.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
those teams aren't going anywhere anytime soon. That's everything you could ask for from basketball.
And these rivalries have been created organically through the playoffs, through playing each other in the regular season. It is something that we've talked about before, and I know I've talked about before. There used to be a thing in the NBA boat crew. Some all the teams liked each other. They were friends. These guys are not friends. Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama are not going out to dinner. They're not going out to dinner after Game 6. They're not doing it because they hate each other. And now, as a human, should I support that? No. As a basketball fan, do I support that? I do. 100%. So, if you guys don't mind, now that I have good connection, that I'm on my phone, I would like to restart where I was going. Victor Wembanyama is on the line of the guys that are drafted that immediately come into the NBA all-stars, immediately are impact players, immediately are the best from the best players in the league. He's the upper echelon of people like that. The difference for a lot of those guys were their teams because they're high draft picks, unless they were showcased, where they were a late draft pick and they actually got brought onto teams that were already good. Is the issue for a lot of those guys is they weren't able to win many years in their career because despite them being amazing, it does not matter if you do not have a team around you. The San Antonio Spurs are not that team. The San Antonio Spurs have completed this rebuild. I wouldn't say it was a short rebuild. They haven't been quite the same since like Kawhi left, and since obviously the days of Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and a lot of them. But they have not. What's happening is, and what has happened is, even if San Antonio, this would still be the exact same way. Michael Jordan lost in the playoffs in the first round or second round the first 10 years of his career. The reason why is he was playing other great teams, and he did not have the team around him. The Spurs have what I consider to be the equivalent of like 84 Michael Jordan with the 91 Bulls roster. And that is the scary thing about this, is that it's not Michael Jordan when he only had one other guy and he's playing with one other guy. It is Michael Jordan as a third-year player when he is the MVP of the league and Defensive Player of the Year with Dylan Harper, John Paxson, depending on what version of the Bulls you're talking about, with Scottie Pippen, with with a Horace Grant or with the Dennis Rodman. He has all those things already, and those guys are young. They have their two oldest players are Harrison Barnes and De'Aaron Fox. Who Harrison Barnes is a little old in terms of the league.
De'Aaron Fox is
just
not even
not
25.
He's no. I'm pretty sure he is.
I thought he was 30.
De'Aaron Fox is 1997, so
29.
30, yeah. But still, your veteran's a 30-year-old guard. Like, that's the scary thing about this team. And even if they lost the series, it wouldn't change how I'm saying this. This is 84 Michael Jordan with the 91 Bulls with him. Dylan Harper is only going to get better. Stephon Castle is only going to mature more.
And they're already freaking good.
And they're already great. Dylan Harper, completely overshadowed by the fact there are so many great players in the series, and he's a teammate of Victor Wembanyama's. Dylan Harper is a rookie, and he looks so polished in the playoffs and so unbothered in the playoffs. Like, it is unreal, and this Spurs team is terrifying because of that. Because they have the all-time great combined with other pieces that could be potentially also very good all-time players already this early. We could be looking at, and listen, this is the same talk we can have about OKC, because OKC isn't still in the same bucket. It's the same way for them. Is we have two teams that found OKC's a little bit older, but they're still plenty young, that have found their depth early, and they're both in the same conference.
The thing you can argue too is like every single draft pick has found a role. They've hit on every single draft pick. Every single draft pick has made sense for what the team is that they're trying to build.
Yes.
And you can argue, I don't know the Spurs name off the top of my head, but you can argue him and Sam Presti are two of the best executives in the NBA.
Yeah.
Strictly because of how they draft, how they piece their team together. Even the little veteran free agent signings and pickups that they did, they fit exactly what the team needed.
Yeah, and let's talk about little veteran signings. I know he's retired now and will be soon to be Hall of Famer, and he's retired. He's no longer on the team. The impact of having Chris Paul with Victor Wembanyama for 1 year.
Oh my God, I brought that up.
Is I think being like, listen, Wemby came into the league as a very there's a lot of how he works and but having Chris Paul in addition to that maturity and even I think that is
And we lost Sam again.
I think we should start this over. I really do. Because we all have very good points, and it's just being in and out, but in and out, in and out, in and out. Yeah, Sam, your whole
Sam's gonna get any better.
But just to say, Sam, that whole Chris Paul point we missed.
We did
No, because I know what he's talking about.
But I know exactly what you mean, though.
The intuitiveness of signing Chris Paul for a year, it doesn't seem like anything. It just seems like signing a veteran guy for 1 year to get you through a year where you're not going to be good is so intelligent and was so overlooked even by all of us, and has such an impact on what Wemby I'm sure is an impact on how he plays on the floor. Let's talk. Do you guys want to talk about just Wemby as a whole? Just Wemby as who he is, what he is.
Yeah, Wemby's the best player in the NBA, and it's not even close.
It's not. Yeah. It's just his impact on both ends of the floor. You have to start thinking about what a most valuable player is. To take Wemby off of his team, they are nowhere near the finals. They might be a playoff team because they have the talent, but the fact of the matter is Wemby he literally changes both sides of the floor. And when his jump shot is falling, and when he's shooting over 50% to make his jumpers, guys, there is nothing that you can do. There's not a damn thing you can do about it.
No. He shuts down a significant portion of the defensive area. A significant.
The Thunder did not do their typical back cutting, and because some of their easy points that they would get is back cuts for layups, skip passes for threes. If Wemby's out there guarding it, here's the problem. He can contest both. He can go to both. So you need to make a choice. Take tough twos like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did in Game 7. He took a bunch of tough twos. And granted, he was making a grip of them, but he took a bunch of tough twos. And that is what Victor Wembanyama forced you to do. Jalen Brunson better be ready to take his tough twos because that's what he's going to get.
Yeah. But and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Exactly what you're saying is right. He makes teams that play good basketball. Like when Thunder are doing their back cuts, when other teams are doing their back cuts, they're playing good, free-flowing, correct. The way we were taught to play basketball as kids, pass the ball, move, cut for the ball, cut to the rim. He makes it impossible to play basketball the right way for the other team, which is
you have to change your entire game.
You have to change the way you know how to play basketball as a whole.
Yeah.
The way these guys grew up playing basketball. Like you're telling NBA players are having to look at themselves, 6'7" NBA players are having to look at themselves and say, I can't go to the rim.
Because Victor Wembanyama is 7'5" and can block your shot up to 9-10 feet. So there's just nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And he's clicking on all cylinders and that mid range and that three ball is falling. There is not a damn thing anyone can do on this planet to stop that. Barring injury, he will be the greatest player we've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
And what he said when he was pitching for MVP is exactly right. Like his impact on the game is very, very undervalued in any type of MVP race because they don't value defense. They just value the offensive side of the ball. And what he does on the defensive side of the ball is just unmatched to any player in the NBA. And what the difference he's going to make for years to come, granted, if he can stay healthy, is going to be potentially game-changing. Just like, like you said, how Jordan was, how it was like.
Yeah. It changes the way you have to play basketball, to do that to an NBA team. They could be playing the Brooklyn Nets. With the Brooklyn Nets, listen, they weren't a good team this year, but they're an NBA team. When an NBA team at any caliber ever has to change the way they fundamentally understand the game of basketball to play you, it is otherworldly. And yes, as time goes on, 5 years later, I'm sure some teams are going to throw things at the Spurs that maybe affect them. But in general, I don't see the way that as long as he's healthy, that this significantly changes. Like you were just talking about, where like his impact that can't be measured for MVP stats. Here's a stat that they should consider. When he plays, I don't know if you guys saw this or if I said this before. When he plays other teams, their offensive, he can be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. When he is on the floor, the offensive rating for other teams on average is the offensive rating of the Brooklyn Nets this year, the worst offense in basketball.
He changes the entire game. That's nuts. And if one player is doing that, imagine if the Spurs are going to have cap space. The Spurs got draft picks. They still have a lot of capital in order to really build around Wemby. If the Spurs needed anything more, it would probably be, I don't even know, a knockdown shooter, like somebody who's just a knockdown shooter.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I think the Giannis talk, him next to Wemby, is kind of ridiculous. Because
the Giannis talk is ridiculous. A knockdown shooter isn't. The Giannis talk, which we can go into when we possibly talk about if OKC makes a change or considers making a change, or if any of these other teams in the West look at this and are like, what do we do? That might make more sense for them. But yeah, a shooter would be nice. The other thing I'd like to talk about really quickly with the Spurs is, I don't know if you guys saw this, up in the private box, you have two guys sitting there together, still members of the organization, still talking to this team, and Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan. Greg Popovich is a very old man at this point, but he's still a basketball savant. He is a man who is so intelligent about basketball that he was the GM of the Spurs, and he looked at them and said, I'll be the head coach now if you guys would just shut up and let me be the head coach, and led them to multiple championships through multiple decades. He's sitting up there with his all-time player, Tim Duncan, and they're discussing the game. Popovich went to the locker room after game 3 or game 4, middle of the series, to talk about the way they played and to basically get mad at them. When you have guys like that, and you have a year where Chris Paul is teaching Wemby about how he views basketball, and you have Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan still involved in the organization, and you have this all-time talent, and you have these draft picks getting in and becoming really core, good basketball players on this team. This organization has once again proved that they are one of the best organizations in basketball. They have been for 30 years.
It's not close.
And the mirror of this sport, they are, I know this is a homer thing to say, but I'll say the same Cardinals of the NBA, a smaller market that just does things the right way consistently, keeps guys that are intelligent within the organization, values them, keeps their opinions heard, and finds young players and develops them. And man, oh man, that's the thing I have to say about the Spurs as a whole until we get into the finals matchup. But this is the West, and this team in particular, along with Oklahoma Thunder, which I know they lost this, they pushed this series to 7, and they look really good in some games. It is, in terms of two teams at the top of a conference in this league, I don't know what else in history compares. Like if the '80s Lakers and Celtics were in the same, conference perhaps, but like this is unprecedented. How good and how deep these guys are.
So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. You could probably think that next 5 championships, you got to think Spurs and Thunder are probably going to be in the finals for all of them.
If this isn't the conference finals matchup for 5 years, I don't know what will be.
Yeah, because both teams are extremely deep. But once we start talking about the Thunder, here's the deal. You have to adapt to things that are around. And if you know good and damn well, Chet Holmgren played one of the worst Game 7s that I've ever seen.
He didn't have a good series as a whole.
And that's because he's so guarded with how Wemby is. Like, dude, he's got his number, and there's nothing that Chet can do about it. He hit that first jumper in Game 7. I don't think he took another shot. He took maybe one more shot and just disappeared for the rest of the game.
It was like the Ben Simmons part that we saw versus the Bucks, like where he was. Now listen, Chet wasn't getting open layups and scared to take those versus a guy that was 6'1". It wasn't that bad, but he had open threes where Wemby was 10 foot away and he wasn't taking them.
And he wasn't shooting him, and he's a 40% three-point shooter. How are you not taking that shot?
So here's a stat for you. Chet, if you count the playoffs, Chet Holmgren played in 84 games this season. He did not score 4 points or less one time, and with his lowest scoring game being a 5-point game and a 27-point blowout in a game he shot 2 for 8. He only scored less than 10 points 6 times all season, with Game 1 of the series being the only game that he had 8 other than Game 7. That's how bad the Wembanyama effect was on him.
And they have a history.
But it affected everybody else.
Yeah.
It affected everybody else, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You have to look at the number. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander shot horribly from the field in the series. Game 7 was realistically his best game, quote unquote, and he took a bunch of tough twos. The other games, that man was shooting under like 100%, and everything was difficult on him. Stephon Castle was that game is real. There was just nothing. Yeah, the Spurs have multiple bodies they can go at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They have multiple bodies they can throw at Chet Holmgren. The Spurs are just deep, and it's the same. It's the same issue. It's the same deal with the Nuggets. Same deal with the Thunder. The same deal with the Spurs. All of these teams, deep. What wins you games in the West? Deep, having a deep bench. So the more that the Thunder, the craziest part about it, Pooh, this is the worst you can see Spurs. This is the worst.
Yeah, and I think too that like losing Jalen Williams really hurt the Thunder.
Yeah.
And him and out of the lineup and being inconsistent when he was in there, that really hurt the Thunder. Because that put more pressure on Chet, and when you put pressure on Chet, he folded.
Man, he folded like a piece of paper. And the hard thing that people are gonna have to accept is that Sam Presti's a really good GM. I don't think he's going to sit on how Chet Holmgren played and not think that he needs to not make a move. He has to make a move. If that includes trading J-Dub, that's what I'm down.
So is that the move that you would make if you're Sam Presti? Do you move off of Jalen Williams in that contract?
Yeah. I don't know what the right move is because Chet Holmgren has only been bad against the Spurs. Chet Holmgren was good against 28 other NBA teams. So
third team All NBA.
If trading him is trading him is the move, but he's been good against 28 other teams, and J-Dub is only good against 20 teams. I don't know. The move is you got to make something. You got to do something because you need more leverage to throw NBA. It's really that simple.
I've seen a couple, NBA people, Zach Lowe, Bill Simmons, more guys that know more about the league than I do. That their thought.
And
again, he's gone. You guys are going to see the disappearing act of Sam all night long. So
we were talking about Shea and these. So Shea shot 40% from the field overall in this series. He shot 28% from three, and he averaged 25.9 points per game. So
how many free throws did he average in the series?
I'm getting.
He averaged 9.3 free throws per game. In game 6,
thank you.
He only shot over 50% from the field in 2 of the 7 games.
They were in his chest. They were guarding him. Stephon Castle is big enough and fast enough and strong enough to take a dribble move his feet, get to the next spot. Stephon Castle is going to be all NBA first team, and first or second team, and all the defensive first team. The kid is just so good. He's only in year 2, 3.
Yeah, he's in year 2. Harper's in year 1. Vessel's in his 3rd year. You have Keldon Johnson, who's been there for a few years, but he's a great 6th man.
That's the 6th man of the year.
And Wemby's in year 3.
That's the 6th man of the year, Keldon Johnson. And did he not hit 2? He hit a couple of huge 3-pointers that when Oklahoma was on a run, he just shut it all down with a nice big time bucket. And like we mentioned earlier, Spurs are going nowhere. The Thunder are also going nowhere because they have so much capital. They can really move up and make a splash in free agency or in the draft. This is a really good draft. If you want to move up and get something, J-Dub and a couple of picks might do it for you. So
my concern thinking of this anything for OKC drafting an impact is I don't think there's anybody in this that can have the impact to guard Victor Wembanyama.
No.
That's why.
Oh, but you can get thicker. You can get thicker in your front lineup. So I'm thinking of a guy like Yaxel Lindenborg or something like that. Somebody who's big, meaty, strong, could be powerful, could be physical. They could move up in the draft, go get Boozer.
Well, so they have 12. They have 12, 17, and 38.
They can get that probably.
They can get Yaxel at 12 or 17. So it's just a matter of what they're willing to give up. They have to do something because if they run it back, they're going to get smoked today because this is the worst that the Spurs are going to be. This is the worst. And if this is the worst Spurs version, they just went to the finals. Like, come on. This is getting a lot, Cooper. But I think we can move on and start talking about like the finals matchup itself.
Well, do we want to talk about the Knicks and Cavs?
Nah, I mean, we can talk about it, but it's the same narrative every time. What does James Harden do in the playoffs, Cooper? And it shouldn't
he doesn't show up. Show up.
He knows that it's the playoffs, and he knows he doesn't show up. And once again, he is flamed out in the playoffs, and it's just the same song and dance every single time. So what else can I expect other than him folding again? And the Cavs gave up once they realized that the Knicks were on that heater.
Hey, but don't tell their coach that. Analytically, they won 3 games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Analytically, they played
So-
really well.
In the 4 games, which we're talking about James Harden, he shot 38% from the field, 17% from 3. There's your James Harden right there.
That's James Harden for you. He does it. He's done it the last however many years. This is the same song and dance. I'm done talking about James Harden in a negative way because he is so good in its prime. I'm done talking about it. But
So
next
what do
time
you
somebody
if you're Cleveland, do you keep him? Because you gave up a lot to get him in a Darius Garland and draft pick. So do you keep him and try to re-sign him? Or
Hell
do you try
no.
to get another piece?
You can't. You can't.
cut your
keep him.
losses. You got to in the NBA. You have to cut your losses. Cut your losses. Move on.
This league in the past 10 years, 5 to 10 years, is moving and improving too fast for you to keep a guy like that. If you want to win, if you think you're close to winning a conference finals or a finals, this league moves and improves too fast. We saw the Spurs in 3 years go from a bottom of the league team to maybe one of the greatest teams that we'll ever see. You cannot keep a guy like James Harden around. I just don't think so. I finally found a spot in my room that has 4 bars of 5G. So we're gonna stand right here. We're gonna stand right here. We're gonna hope and pray that I can finally say what I was trying to say 4 times. I've seen people talk about the bigs Wemby played over the playoffs. 2 of them are all defensive players. Chet Holmgren and Rudy Gobert. And then Isaiah Hartenstein as just a big bruiser. Hartenstein was not skilled enough. Chet, number one, have you guys seen on Twitter the history of Wemby and Chet?
Yeah,
They don't
this
like
goes
each
back
other.
to this goes back to that gold medal game that they played when they were 19.
Even before, as even younger, they were playing against each other in U16 USA and France games. Wemby has been on the short end of the stick to him, most likely because of his teammates more than Chet Holmgren himself, because USA is just a better team. Wemby took this full opportunity to embarrass and destroy Chet. Chet was not big enough for him and not strong enough. Hartenstein was not skilled enough. Rudy Gobert was not fast enough. If you're Sam Presti looking at this, there is a non-0% chance that Sam Presti is looking at this and not saying there's only one big in the league that could possibly fit those criteria and be ready for this situation, and it is Giannis. There is a non-0% chance with the capital they have that Sam Presti says this for at least 3 to 4 years. This might be my only option to stop this kid because Hartenstein can't do it. Hartenstein's a good player. Chet Holmgren is an all-defensive player. Rudy Gobert is an all-defensive player. He's an all-time defensive player, in fact, and they couldn't do it. And the only player that might have all 3 of their skill sets combined enough, maybe not the shooting of Chet, but the size, the quickness, the skill to maybe affect Victor Wembanyama is Giannis. There is a non-0% chance that Sam Presti finally cashes in on some of these picks and some of these assets he's been hoarding. I mean, Jared McCain's their 10th man, so they have the assets if they just want to do a trade, or they have picks too. That's the solution. Now, do you ship out Hartenstein? Do you ship out J-Dub? Do you keep them and just give up draft picks and say, Bucks, go have fun rebuilding for 5 years? I don't know. But I don't think it's crazy that the reaction to this, and yeah, they played a 7-game series and they could have won. They're still a great team. But like
in
you said,
reality, they had no shot. If Wemby's playing at his best, if everyone is playing at their best, the Spurs still win that game.
Yeah, and like you said, this is the worst version the Spurs are going to be. I don't think it's crazy to say that this is the time where Sam Presti actually decides his all-in move, and his all-in move in comparison to what we thought it'd be over the years, where we thought maybe last year it'd be Kevin Durant, or we thought you know, they were going to splash for some guy, you know, over the years, some big free agent, which Giannis is a big free agent. That's all I'm saying. It's not a embarrassment of riches story that they're going to run into, which is what we thought they'd do with these picks eventually. It's a holy shit, we lost, and we lost to this freak of nature. We have to get our own.
So this is what Yahoo put out for a proposal. The Thunder received Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks received Jalen Williams, Kyrie Williams, Isaiah Joe, pick 12, 17, and 2 future firsts.
That's a haul,
I think
man.
you could even keep one of those,
yeah.
Isaiah Joe, and give them another pick too, or whatever. They have so many picks, it doesn't matter.
Well, they said that they were saying they need
Because Shay's making a shade under 40, like maybe 40-ish, but his contract kicks in next year, $60 million.
So does Chet's.
Yeah, you don't want to be paying Chet Holmgren enough money to beat every team except for one that you are trying.
But so think about what that trade would be, right? You're getting rid of Jalen Williams, but you're keeping Chet, you're keeping Isaiah Hartenstein, and
you're getting another
Hall of Fame big man.
Listen, Sam, I think it's the best move that the Thunder could make is go get Giannis, because it adds another element. But then you have to start thinking about, like, yo, does Giannis really want to go play with the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And at the end of the day, I don't know, man. His Bucks title run was more memorable than him winning with Shai.
Yeah, but he's also damn tired of being on a bad team and going from a bad team to a contender. Like, he'll be the second or third best player on this team. There's no shame in him winning a solo ring. What did Kareem do? Kareem went to the Lakers and was supposed to be the number one. But Magic, James Worthy go there. James Worthy get drafted there. Sometimes, you know, middle into the end of career with these guys, you have to accept being a second, third guy. Kevin Durant with the Warriors, like.
I mean, like, if you're Giannis, you want to go play with Curry and maybe get in contention, or do you want to go play with Shai?
And it's not
in his prime.
And it's not going to be like a Kevin Durant to the Warriors where everybody's like, oh, this guy. No, it's not going to be like that. The public reaction isn't going to be like that. He's not going to be concerned about that. He's going to be on a team where he gets to win again. And, you know, like, it just.
And the Bucks.
He's going to be the second or third best player.
And the Bucks get 4 first-round picks and a young superstar, technically, in Jalen Williams.
And you know what the crazy thing is? The crazy thing about this is OKC could have won that Game 7, and we could still be having these conversations.
Correct, because like we said, this is the worst that Wemby is going to be. And that is the scariest part about this whole conversation, is that young man can get better and more experienced and more playoff ready. The kid is he's a diamond.
Even if he stays just this good, Dylan Harper's going to not be a rookie anymore. Stephon Castle's going to mature more. Did you see Dylan Harper? Stephon Castle got hard fouled by Caruso. Dylan Harper's a rookie. Now, he has NBA pedigree. He's a very mature young man. Seems like a great kid. Slides in to stop Stephon Castle from going after Alex Caruso in a crucial moment.
Because Stephon was getting ready to go after Alex Caruso. Yeah. Probably get a tech. Probably, change the momentum of the game.
And we see a kid with a head on his shoulders, a rookie with a head on his shoulders like that, to slide in and stop that. Man, I've never been more. Very few times have I been this impressed with a rookie in the conference finals.
They were both impressive, and Dylan Harper is just showing how versatile and nasty he can really be. The kid is just going to be absolutely outstanding in the coming years, and being coached by Nick Johnson, he's gonna have a lot of tutors around.
Yeah, you have, like I said, Popovich. You have Tim. You have Tim around, and you know what? He goes home for Christmas, and who's he talking to? He's talking to his dad, multi-time NBA champion. So, I feel very confident that his career is going to be really, really solid.
Let's get into this finals matchup, because my phone is at 14%. So gotta get ready.
Well, like, while I cut off, did you guys talk about the Knicks eviscerating the Cavs really quickly and how good the Knicks
We
have
just
looked?
talked about James Harden. That's it.
Because that was the
Just-
only
just-
thing worth talking about.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing would be the Knicks have looked incredible ever since that game 5 or 6 versus the Hawks. They have swept 2 series, looked unbeatable. Their offensive rating is up there with the 73-win Warriors. They are very, very good right now. So let's talk about it. Looks like it's finally their chance versus a young team that is that looks like they could create one of the all-time dynasties even if they lose the series.
Are you talking about dynasty in the sense of the Spurs or the Knicks?
The Spurs, the Knicks are a team that have just been and like waiting to peak, and I don't know if they'll peak like this again. The Spurs are so young that this could be the beginning of a 10-year dominant run.
But the crazy thing is, they could start that dynasty right now
Right
against
now,
a team like the
Early.
New York Knicks.
early, like this is
I wouldn't.
I think
I
that
just
the
wouldn't be
Knicks.
surprised if this was more competitive than people are saying. I think the Knicks are equipped to beat the Spurs. If they do beat the Spurs, I wouldn't be surprised because they
Yeah,
have
but
size.
you could have a competitive series and it ends in 5,
yeah.
No, you're
where
right.
every game is close, and you
No, I
can have a so it's a catch-22, right? In my personal opinion, do I think this series goes 7? No, I don't.
No,
I think it
it
ends.
goes
I think
6, and I think San Antonio beats them.
Yeah.
right, but I'm saying, could you have a 5-game gentleman sweep by the Knicks, and you have 2 overtime games, and you have 3 other really tight games? Absolutely, you could.
Yeah.
The only way I see the Spurs losing is their young and mature and immaturity showing in the NBA Finals. But we just saw that that's not going to be an issue. These guys are going to
Yeah.
be ready for the moment. They're coached up, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Like I said,
Yeah.
this is the worst you're going to see the Spurs, and there's not a damn thing you guys can do about it.
I mean, the
Here's-
number
here's-
one matchup everybody is going to watch is how Karl-Anthony Towns plays against Wembanyama.
Yep, because he's going to
Yeah.
have to drag him out. He's going to have to drag him out of that paint and keep Victor from controlling and dominating the paint. And good luck doing that because no one's been able to do that.
Yeah. And he's gonna have to keep him moving and keep Wemby winded, keep Wemby, tired. Here's some concerns for the Knicks.
So,
The
hold
big
on,
guard.
hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on, just to touch on the Towns Wemby thing one more, real quick. So when Towns has played Wembanyama 6 times in his career, he has a career average of 19.2 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists.
Not bad.
And he shoots, so he has a decent, he shoots decently as well. He shoots 56% from the field and 36% from 3 against Victor Wembanyama. So he does play decent against Wembanyama. So.
But this is a whole different level of game. We're not playing for the NBA Cup. We're playing for the whole set of mark. And we saw what Wemby at the dominant level could do. He scored 41 points and 20 to something rebounds in game 1, set the whole tone for the series.
And even if Cat has a good series versus Wemby, here's my concerns for the Knicks. Their big guards are going to be a real problem for Jalen Brunson. A real problem. I think the Knicks have been able to cruise through these Eastern teams because these Eastern teams did not. This is something we've talked about all playoffs, especially with the Cavs, but the rest of these Eastern Conference teams too. The main difference between them in the middle and the top of the Western Conference was not only some of the star power, it was the depth. The Cavs could only play 6, 7, 8 guys. The Knicks actually could play 10, 11 guys. Well, now they're finally playing a team that's as deep as them. I think the depth at best for the Knicks cancels out the depth for the Spurs. And I really think that Brunson is going to face the best defense he's going to face all playoffs. And then winning championships comes down to how well you can play defense and free throws in a lot of moments. The other big that they're going to run at Wemby is Mitchell Robinson, who has a habit for fouling a lot, who has injury issues, and who is the worst NBA playoff free throw shooter of all time. I understand it hasn't affected them yet, but when that's your second best big versus a guy like Wembanyama and he's going to foul out, or if he gets fouled by Wemby, he's going to brick 2 free throws. I don't know if that's
basically a
good
stop
enough.
on defense.
I don't know if that's
Basically a stop on
so-
defense.
So do you guys want to
good enough?
do you want to know Wembanyama's stats against Cat?
Sure.
He went crazy.
27 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists in 6 games against Cat.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is the Knicks. And listen, this series is Adam Silver's wet dream. The Knicks finals plus a young Spurs team. Adam Silver is sitting in his king size bed in his New York apartment at night, jacking it to this series. All right. This is amazing for him. But does that mean it's going to be even series? No, I think the Knicks, all kudos to the Knicks. Their fans have been incredible. They've had an incredible run. They're playing offense at an all-time level right now. They could make a couple games really hard at any moment for these young Spurs. I don't think Cat and Mitch Robinson are enough to deal with Wemby. I think Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper are in a great position to do an incredible job defending Jalen Brunson. And
So I have a question for you that just popped in my head. Do you think they start Josh Hart on Wemby?
No, he's too small. The days of teams trying to defend Wemby with like an Alex Caruso type or somebody who's just tough, bullshit. Get that out of here. You want to know why? Because I would dump the ball into him every possession until they switch. You need to respect Wemby a lot more than that. Go get you some bigs that can play some defense. Don't put no damn guard on.
And guess what? Arguably one of the best teams in the NBA, which the Knicks are not, OKC is, just tried that with Alex Caruso, with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, who are better defenders than Cat and Mitchell Robinson on the back end, behind him. And it still didn't work. You're doing a worse version of what OKC did. Yeah, they might try.
Josh Hart can defend. Let's not get it twisted. Josh Hart can defend. But we're talking about 8 feet in reach. There is nothing Josh Hart can do. Yeah, Josh Hart can do absolutely nothing against that. There's nothing he can do.
And that's nothing against Josh Hart. That's nothing against Alex Caruso or Hartenstein or Chet or any of them. Like he's just like a team that's better at what you're saying just did that and failed.
Yep. You can put Alex Caruso on Wemby all you want to. It's going to result in the same 2 points as if you put Josh Hart on him. I'm sorry.
Here's my biggest thing. Look at the Knicks and look at the Oklahoma City. Are the Knicks not, in theory, just a slightly different, worse version of Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
An incredibly talented offensive power forward, a superstar guard, but they're both worse than Chet and Shea. Guys like OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, that's Alex Caruso, that's J-Dub. Like, they're very similar teams.
Just looking at Wembanyama's stats, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just looking at his stats, they're just fucking gross against any team.
Yeah.
Like his career, he's played 5 games against the Knicks. He averages 31 points and 15 rebounds.
Yeah,
and he's had he had a 42 and 18 and a 40 and 20 game.
Yeah, and listen, we're just fans, and maybe the Knicks, this is just finally their moment for the first time in 40 years, and they finally get it done. But what I'm seeing is a team that is a slightly worse version of what Oklahoma City is, and Oklahoma City couldn't get it done. Why would I think the Knicks can?
Let me say my piece on this, and then I'm going to get off because my phone is dying. But I do want my fans to hear me say this one time. This is literally, as Sam said, this is Adam Silver's wet dream. But I do think if everything goes as according to the script, the Spurs win this in 6. And if the Knicks had home court advantage, I would say then it would have to probably go 7. But playing at MSG, you would really only have to win one game there. This game is going 5 or 6 games, and Victor Wembanyama is going to win Finals MVP, going to get his first championship, and going to put the world on notice that, hey, if you want to beat the Spurs in the West, guess what you're going to have to do? you're going to have to load up on bigs. You're going to have to load up on super thick, meaty guards, long, lanky forwards. You're going to have to adjust because, again, I can't say this enough, guys. This is the worst Victor Wembanyama is going to be. This is the worst version that you are going to see. And if that thought alone doesn't scare you, you don't know ball. You just don't know ball. Because a man averaging 5 to 6 blocks a game, and when he gets older and more mature and more muscle around those shoulders of his, good luck throwing anything at the rim. He's going to average 4 blocks a game. He's taking away 10 to 12 points a game because that is just what he does. He's nimble. He has a handle. He's got a step back. Unfortunately, right now, this might be the version of Wemby that you just can't guard, and this is the worst he's going to be. So,
all right, I have a wild take question for you, Dre.
Go ahead.
Before you hop off, if Wemby wins a championship in this year, which is very possible, does he get thrown into the top 5 players of all time conversation?
Not all time, no, because you have to do that at a higher clip for a longer amount of time before we start putting you into that. Okay, he's better than Shaq. He's better than Tim Duncan. He's better than this. He's better than that. He needs a little bit more. And again, we've never seen 7'4" carry the way Victor Wembanyama carries it. So we're gonna see if he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, Coop, in 2 years, absolutely. Because in 2 years, he's gonna add an MVP, 2 more Defensive Player of the Year trophies, and he might win another Larry O'Brien trophy. So at the end of the day, this is the worst Victor is going to be, and you guys are gonna just have, ball players, analysts are just gonna have to accept that. That is what it is. Victor Wembanyama is the face of the league. Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, all those guys are close to, but Victor's the best in the league right now, and there is nothing you can do about it unless he gets hurt. There's just nothing you can do.
And in terms of your question, my quick answer would be exactly what Dre said. It's not, he can't be there yet. He's at minimum on a trajectory of a young Kareem where he won a finals very early in his career, and we'll see. And if he could just stay like that and never win again, he would still have the pedigree of young Kareem, where he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But then he can easily go be like Kareem and continue either winning championships or maybe like Kareem go not win another one for a while, but win 4 more in the back of his career as an impact player still. But he's at minimum on a trajectory of a young Kareem where he wins a title very, very early. And he's off for the races, averaging 20, 10, and a couple blocks. And Wemby will probably average more.
Like I said, man, there's not a hell of a lot you're going to be able to do when Wemby hits his physical prime and when he can't get pushed off the block, when you can't body him, when Giannis's body type isn't enough. Because now the Thunder think that Giannis's body type is enough. And then right now it might be because he's young. But the young man is only 22 years old. You guys have to understand that the best way to get him now is you better get him when he's young. Because at the end of it all, bearing injury, he will be the best that's ever played. And that's all I can say about Victor Wembanyama. Which I think now that the Spurs are going to win 4-2 and the Knicks are going to put up a valiant effort, win a couple, maybe both games, and maybe a game in Madison Square Garden. The Spurs find a way to win in Madison Square Garden, the series will be over in 6. If they don't beat them in Madison, it's going 7. So, before I sign off, this has been an amazing NBA playoffs. I truly cannot already wait. I can't already wait for next year. Can't wait for the draft. We better record. We're going to get on this recording for football season. We just had a big football trade with Myles Garrett and A.J. Brown going to different teams. There's just a lot that we have to talk about, boys. So we cannot wait for the weeks before our next recording. We need to get right back on it.
No, I want to record more. I want to record after I want to see how game 1 goes. I'll potentially even talk right after that.
Every game.
Yeah, no, and especially right after the series, because we got to talk about which, no matter who wins the series, we got to talk about the implications of what just happened. And
Yeah.
hey, look, and the thing we forgot to say, another non-repeat champion this decade. This decade has been
Love
full of
it.
parity. Love it.
Love
There's
it.
been so many good teams, and we're looks like we're ripe for. Listen, no matter who wins, we're ripe for another team to write their name on that trophy and say, you know, we're part of NBA history too. No matter if it's the Spurs team starting a dynasty or maybe the Knicks saying, hey, we have a couple of years with these guys where we're going to be right there.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything else other than what we've talked about. Before Dre hops off and we all hop off, do you just want to pop in a game 1 prediction and then we hop back on after game 1?
I have one more quick thing to say, but then we can do that.
I like the Knicks in game 1 is because I like the element of surprise. Chat, I do think the Knicks
Rest.
game 1. Yep, maybe they get the benefit of the whistle. Jalen Brunson is going to be coming out ready to play. OG Anunoby is the best corner 3-point shooter in the NBA, so he's got to knock down shots. Josh Hart's got to knock down shots. Mikal Bridges can't score 18 a game and think that's enough. You got to score more. So I personally think the Knicks win game 1, and New York will riot because then they're automatically guaranteed to be a freaking frenzy for games 3 and 4. They're automatically guaranteed. If they win one of those games in San Antonio, frenzy. Call New York, tell the cops, y'all having double shifts because it's going to be a long-ass night. But my phone's at 3%.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are amazing. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hoops After Dark, baby. Dre, signing out before his phone dies. I bowled really well, just in case anybody cares. 203, 220, and 224. Stop playing with me.
Yeah, bro.
You know what it is. Sam, Coop, you guys are my dogs. I love talking sports with you. I will holler at you guys next time. Let's not wait so long, man. Peace.
No, we'll do it quick. Peace, brother.
See you, Dre.
All right. We have to talk.
All right.
We have to talk about this before we go. So before I give you my prediction, let's talk really quick about how bowling is good sometimes. Sometimes humans as little kids, we're annoying, we make bad decisions, and our friends at school, our peers, get annoyed with us, call us out for it, and they're mean to us, and we cry and we snivel, and then sometimes, the internet, we can make a bad decision and people get mad at us and call us dumb, and sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes we as consumers, Coca-Cola or McDonald's makes a decision about their product that we don't like, and we complain and we cause a stink. Sometimes we as sports fans, we do this too. And we have a little healthy bullying we do. And we as NBA fans have finally done it. We have bullied the NBA into putting the finals logos back on the court. The Larry O'Brien Trophy will be on the court in San Antonio and in Madison Square Garden in great New York City. We've done it. Bullying works. It's good. That's my take. Is we did it, Coop. We did it.
I love it. Can we bully him into fixing the flopping thing now?
Listen, we actually apparently tried, as you said, and he said it wasn't.
Did you see the clip?
I have not. I will look at that clip once we're done for sure, because I'm interested to see how exactly he thought about it. I do understand. I understand what he said. Possibly it's not a problem because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't get the calls that he had gotten in the regular season many times, and he's not the guy that gets the most calls in the NBA. I know. OKC fans will be like, "Oh, he's the fourth most called guy in the league." It's not even fair. You're acting like he's worse than all the others by a lot. It's the visual aspect of watching it. It's not the actual calls. It's watching it actually. Thank you.
How about the flopping? Flop. Big conversation.
Yeah, and it's been a conversation. I would only say that there's a difference between selling a call, exaggeration, and a true flop, which is where you're actually fooling the referees. I think sometimes even as I sit in the stands at games, players may be falling down, players may be reacting to a call, but then if they're not fooling the referees, it's like, okay, players are taught to sell calls these days. Can officiating get better? Of course. We're always working on that. Can officials get fooled occasionally? We're always looking at that as well. The officiating is incredible. I will also add one other piece to it, because I know there's always controversy around certain calls. I think think in terms of replay, I think we're going to get to the point fairly quickly where, for example, out of bounds, just like you're a tennis fan and they have what they call Hawkeye, and it's like the animation, and you quickly see you touch the line or it was out of bounds. We're going to move to a system like that where that whole category of call will be automatic.
Okay. Listen, as a soccer fan, listen, and VAR is not perfect and sometimes it's too slow, but if we get automatic calls like that, like tennis, out of bounds, that's great. Very politically correct answer from Adam Silver, where he kind of deflects.
I will say, I will give all the ball props to Pat McAfee for asking that question.
See that, and that's what's kind of wonderful about having Pat McAfee on TV now is we've gotten in the post, because originally Pat McAfee, when he was at Barstool and Barstool in general, people were like, this isn't real journalism. No one, and yeah, sometimes it's silly, sometimes it's a joke, sometimes it's unserious. Let's also be honest with ourselves. It's sports. Sometimes we act with sports on TV like it's politics. Guys, it's sports. Sometimes we just need to chill out and ask some silly questions and have some more fun. We need to relax, the belt a little bit. But it's nice having when you have a show that's unserious and not taking itself like it's the most important thing in the world at the moment, like some of these shows on ESPN do, and especially how they used to be. You're able to ask questions like that. And yeah, it also opens up room for Adam Silver to deflect and be joking and back and not give the most serious answer ever. But he did give some sort of answer where he's like, he didn't say he's not looking into it. He gave a politically correct answer, and I'm sure that won't be the reaction won't be exactly what we as fans want. What I will say is, like I said, is, the calls weren't there for like they had been in previous games over this series for Shea, which is good, and he was not rewarded. I think what sports fans are and what NBA fans are more annoyed with than the calls, actually, because I think most of the time the refs do a pretty great job. It's not the calls and how the game is actually being affected. It's just the actual, like, having to watch a grown man who is an NBA probably Hall of Famer toss himself and his teammates toss themselves on the ground unnecessarily 5 to 10 times a game when they don't have to. It's not actually that the refs are calling it every time. It's the annoyance of just seeing it happen in general, because you know it when you see it, when it's like, all right guys, all right, come on. So yeah, no, I think Adam Silver's correct in the way he answered. It was like, it's not the biggest concern because his refs aren't calling it. If the refs have been calling it, giving Shea 20 calls a game, I would be interested to see what his answer would be then. But I think him and his refs have it right. I think what fans are looking for is either Adam Silver having a commissioner sit down with multiple members of the NBA and say, hey, how about we play a little bit tougher, fellas? The fans aren't liking this. Or truly having a punishment.
Wasn't there, you can correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there a time in college basketball where players were getting technical fouls for flopping?
I don't know if that was ever a thing. I know it's like technically a rule in the NBA where they can give that. They just never do, which I understand why it's hard to in the moment, like, do that. Especially in conference finals, you don't just want to give a guy a tech. But
in 2022, the NCAA playing rules panel cleared that a Class B technical foul can be assessed to a player for flopping, and the team would get one free throw and issued a warning, and the player could potentially be kicked out. Granted, I don't know if they still follow this rule, but it was a rule that was put in college basketball.
Yeah, no, it might be a rule in the NBA too, I believe. I think it actually is. It's just I think it's really hard to call in games, and I do understand the refs don't want to call it. Like, I understand why, and that it's probably like unrealistic for us to ask for them to call that. But it's finding game or assessing technicals post game that don't actually affect the game, but can affect.
Yeah, like for those post game replay reviews by the upper officiating. Absolutely, I could see that.
Yeah, where it doesn't actually affect the game. Like, we don't want to actually give free throws during games or whatever, because it's hard to call and be completely accurate and know exactly what's going on and without spending a lot of time and then making a judgment call. But then a fine post game, and then that fine can also, leads into appeals where the Thunder can then appeal and say, no, he got hit here, and then Chad or Shea or whoever it was has to go sit down with the league officials and be like, this is what happened and this is how I felt, and then they have to discuss it. I think that's a better way to handle it. Then there's some sort of internal review. And I know, we don't realize what the power the commissioners have. And yeah, these are pro players, they're not going to really listen like that. But I sometimes I do wish that commissioners would just go to the locker room and be like, hey, fellas, let's listen. let's
Yeah.
just I name a certain way, and I know you're trying to get calls, and I respect that. You're playing hard. But like, show a video on the board, and sit down with the Thunder and be like, hey, this thing right here, this is why the fans are annoyed. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you can't play that way, but I just want you to understand that this is like, I do understand what they're saying. But obviously he's not going to tell that to Pat McAfee and sit there and be like, oh, I sat down with him. He's not going to say that. But I do think that there has been internal discussion more than we know.
100% there. That conversation is going to be constantly brought up, especially because they always talk about improving the game, making the game more enjoyable for fans, making the game better.
And they have. Do you think I think this playoffs has been overall resounding plus for the NBA.
I think that you get more, I don't know how to word this correctly, so you can cut me off if I'm going too far, but it's like the NBA playoffs are like the NCAA tournament in a sense, right? You get more of the casual basketball fan watching the NBA playoffs. You may not watch every regular season game, so you're kind of catering to a different audience in a sense. So now you have these maybe non-basketball fans who aren't watching every single game, watching these NBA playoffs and saying, what the hell is going on with all this flopping with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Yeah, I agree with that. There are definitely more eyes and more public talk about it. My point in general is I just think in terms of competitiveness and media talk and just in general the games and the teams, I think this has been just a resoundingly good playoff for the NBA in terms of viewership, in terms of dominance of talking, in terms of just like the play on like I was talking about when we recorded about hockey earlier, like you could argue that these playoffs have been more competitive, obviously not physically competitive. You're never going to get that level that it is in hockey and basketball, but in terms of how the series have went, in terms of series going to 7, like the Oklahoma City versus the Spurs, like that's a resounding win for the NBA.
Oh, 100%.
In this model.
And I think too, give them props too with their game schedule, not competing with the Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup starts tomorrow. The NBA Finals starts on Wednesday. Stanley Cup plays again on Thursday. Friday,
and they're going to stagger it out, and we're going to go right into a World Cup, and they're probably going to avoid all of it.
Yep, because when's the World Cup start?
12th
exactly, I forget
of
off
June.
The top of my head.
The 12th. I think it's the 12th.
Yeah, the NBA draft is the 23rd and 24th. So you're going to avoid the opening game. I mean, you might get deeper into those World Cup games, but you're going to avoid the opening rounds that everybody's watching of the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just think and I think that the league in general is in a really good place because of the teams that are being developed and the young guys that are coming in. This is the most excited I've been about the future of the NBA in a long time, because there was a 4-year stretch where we were still having good finals. In fact, now I'm watching a man beat an addiction because I'm watching the Milwaukee end of the finals right now. Watching Chris Paul beat his finals addiction as we speak. And
but even if you look at like just talking about World Cup, like when Team USA plays, the 4 games that Team USA play, none of those align with any of the NBA Finals games.
Yeah, that's smart because they shouldn't.
And it's the same thing with the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup goes tomorrow, the 2nd, the 6th, the 9th, the 11th, 14th, and 17th. Team USA plays the 6th, the 12th, the 19th, and the 25th. So
Yep.
they even avoided it as well, and they avoided the NBA draft falling on a World Cup game. Team, as much the non-soccer fans too, it's the same thing. They're going to be watching Team USA.
Oh yeah. Well, they're gonna or they're gonna be watching. If the 23rd is France and any decent team in the knockout game, they're gonna be watching that too. I mean, that's gonna. So it's a World
But
Cup. It always has eyes.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Oh,
At
no,
least
totally.
like even both leagues, they did a very good job staggering all of these dates.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, if there's a good World Cup game, or I'm watching the second round of the NBA draft, I'm gonna watch the World Cup.
Yeah, I will
Like,
be watching France Norway instead of that. Yes, I totally agree, and I just think I think my point was more of there was a period of years where there was still good basketball, but we didn't know where the league was going because we've known for a while we're headed post LeBron and Steph and post Kawhi and Kevin Durant. We didn't know exactly where it was going. We firmly know
I
where it's going. This playoffs
I
answered a
think
lot of questions about where it's going.
People didn't want to accept the Luka stuff when he was in Dallas, and how good he was carrying that team to the finals. And the league just didn't push him to be the face of the league. They wanted somebody else. But now you're going to get two potential European superstars be the face of or three technically, if you want to count Jokic as well.
Yeah.
Of being the face of the NBA, because Jokic is what, 4 MVPs, a championship. You have Luka, who's now in LA, where all the eyes are on the Lakers, especially when LeBron is gone. Potentially, that's going to be all eyes are going to be on Luka in the biggest market, arguably in the league. And then you have this dynasty that's forming in San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama.
And a lot of up and coming other teams. Like I just think this playoffs answered so many questions about where the league was going. Because now we know where the league is going. The league is going in the way of OKC and the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then the alternative pieces to them are Luka in LA and Ant in Minnesota. And the trio of guys potentially in Charlotte and the Pistons and the Magic. Like we know where the league is going now because it was stuck in limbo. And I think your Luka point is correct about him and the Mavericks. I think there's just such a difference also between because I think people were watching that Mavericks team like, is this team good enough to make the finals? Now, a couple of years later, when the depth in the NBA has rocketed, now we're seeing teams and we're like, this is a finals team. Because with that Luka Dallas team, I know you're a fan. There's still question marks to say whether they were really good enough to make a finals without Luka pushing them. Now we're looking at the NBA.
That was like the narrative, right? Of like, was Luka good enough? Was he this? Was he that? Was he this? Was he that? It was never.
I think people knew that Luka.
I'm just saying, the media, the national media praises. They didn't praise him when he was in Dallas. They gave him more, you can say, slack because he went to LA, right? In a bigger market. He's not as nitpicked as he was in Dallas those years, but you can your point is exactly right. They didn't believe without him could that team get to the finals. Yeah. Could that team last year without Shai get to the finals? That team was built very well. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah,
but does a team without Wemby get to the finals? Absolutely not.
No. And then the other portion of why the NBA is happy with this playoffs is what we talked about earlier with the rivalries that have been created. Now, not only do we have good teams, like a slew of good teams and a slew of young stars where there was that 5-year limbo period where we're like, yeah, there's Luka around and there's a couple of these guys, but like, who's really like, because Luka wasn't on a good team. Like people were like, who are the next teams as well as these good players? Who's going to be them? And now we have Luka, teams.
But it's also, where's Kyrie? Why isn't Kyrie showing up? It's
why? Yeah,
but you have no question about what is going on with what do you call it? With what Wembanyama is doing.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the other guys. Yeah, like you're right. In the Kyrie generation of players, there's a Kyrie generation of players like Anthony Davis and these other guys that were like the 2009 to like 2015 first round picks that like were good, but like a lot of them feel like middled out in a way. Like I don't know. Like do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Like Kyrie,
No,
AD.
I get what you're saying
Who-
100%. It's like,
Yeah.
do you
Who
trust
else is
this
in that?
team?
Who else is in that
I-
era of players? Those guys are like the premier ones to me. Almost like a Jimmy Butler, like a bunch of guys that were good.
Like Jimmy
like-
Butler got there, but that team was an 8 seed.
Team,
Are they
yeah.
actually are they really that good?
Oh, they're really, yeah.
Or
Yeah, and-
it took Jimmy 3 teams to get there.
Yeah,
You know,
or even the question with like Kyrie and AD, like guys that have won finals, but like the question with guys like that and Jimmy are like, are these guys good enough to be like the face of the league or marquee or like the number one players on finals teams? And the overall answer over time was no, and that's where the league was like, where are we heading? Are we going to be a league of like depth teams with no like real defensive stars, or is everyone going to have to make a super team to compete? Like, what's going on? And now the answer, they completely answered the question of, now we have no longer are all of our stars friends that hang out on vacation together. We have real rivalries with real fan bases that genuinely have animosity, genuinely care. Like after this playoffs, you can like Minnesota, the Spurs, like New York, like all these fan bases, you can tell where like they care, they have real rivalries, they care about the games, they hate the other teams. The league has stars, the league has teams with depth that actually look like all-time teams. And now I think this year has really answered so many questions of the NBA and just been a resounding success of now we know where we're at as a league. And now we feel like we can go into the 2020s and into 2030 as a very, very competitive, narrative-driven, strong sports league where it seemed like it was just LeBron for 10 years plus the Warriors, and then post that was where are we at now? And now we know where we're at.
And I think like too, like you can go back to like the pre-LeBron Heat era, and you have Kobe, and he played against a Dwight Howard who led the Orlando Magic to a finals. Or you had a stretch there of who was it? Yeah, the Celtics for a while with their super team that got there.
The Spurs once every 4 years.
The Spurs got there. Then they got Kawhi and got back there again. Like you had the same era of teams. It was either the Celtics, the Lakers, the Pistons for the few years when they had Billups and the shape-shifting remake of the Bad Boys, and the Spurs. It's like it was the same 4 or 5 teams that you could pencil in. You had the Mavs. You had Dirk arguably make one of the greatest final runs ever. Then you had the Young Thunder. You had the Young Thunder before they traded Harden get there. Like it's like you had the runs of like some of those teams get there, but they were never good enough to beat those established 4 or 5.
No, and the only team that finally made a long-term impact was either a team with LeBron or the Warriors. And I think the league was yearning for a marquee couple, 3 or 4 teams. Because the 2010s had LeBron and the Warriors, but those are 2 teams. The league was yearning for post LeBron Steph more than 2 teams. And now I think we're going to get 3 or 4.
Yeah, you got to assume Jokic may get back there again, right? You got to think that the Thunder are going to get back. You got to think the Spurs are going to get back. The Knicks maybe, but the Pistons might. The Celtics, depending on what they do with Jalen Brown and Tatum, they're going to get back. They're going to get healthy. The Sixers, depending on what they do and how they tool their team around Embiid and Maxey, could they get there? Does the Miami Heat make a splash and go get 1 or 2 players?
Yeah, does Donovan Mitchell leave? Yeah.
There's a bunch of teams around the league that are like, okay, this is built. What do the Lakers do post LeBron? How do they build that team around Luka? Do they get Luka another superstar to play with? Do they build a team like they had in Dallas, kind of where you had another piece, but you had a very, very solid team around him that was able to protect his flaws? Because like you said, if I put on my Mavs Homer glasses for a second, that team with Luka and Kyrie that went to the finals, could they get there to the finals without Luka? No. But did they have enough pieces like a PJ Washington who had big games, or when they brought in Daniel Gafford, or the young Lively who was playing really well?
Yeah.
And you had Kyrie healthy. Like they had different pieces that were molding into, if they would have kept building on top of that, could they have made more of a longer run? But obviously, Nico Harrison made one of the worst decisions in NBA history.
That guy.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, but like could they have added? Could the Clay thing, before they traded Luka, could the Clay Thompson thing have worked if
Yeah.
Luka didn't get hurt that season?
Yeah.
Because they were missing a shooter. Like that team had depth too. So like,
Could they have drafted a wing or something? Yeah, no.
Like there were teams that were getting to the conference finals, like the Knicks were, or like the Mavs who made a run that were maybe one piece away from being like legit contenders for years to come. And decisions were made in any circumstance for any team that derailed those. Injuries happen, things happen. But
Yeah.
but who's gonna be that consistent piece? And it's gonna be, in my opinion, a very West dominated league for a long time until the East starts playing catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the East, and like we talked about, there are several young teams in the East that aren't that far away. They just need to they need to draft and get the right pieces, like these teams have brought in. Like the Spurs and OKC have brought in. If a team in the East is able to draft 2 players right, the Hornets draft 2 players right in this draft. If the Miami Heat get a star and draft a player right, like there's a lot of teams I feel like they can be there, where 10 years ago it really only felt like there were 3 teams capable of doing anything.
And I think too, getting rid of the super team concept in a sense that wasn't made through the draft, that's really helped. I think that's really helped, because now you have all of these. You don't have as big a parity as you would in the league, and now you're seeing teams be able to compete and have more depth and have better pieces and be able to actually play.
Yeah, and the teams that try to do a super team conference are bringing a big guy, all of the Cavaliers. Yes, it's James Harden, which is another mistake, but say it's say it's fucking Steph Curry, who cares? It doesn't matter if you don't have your 7-8 guy, and that's what we're seeing now.
If you can only play, if you're only playing 6 guys, it doesn't matter. You're not going to win a lot of games doing that.
Yeah, and so the league is just getting deeper. It's in a place where we have real rivalries, we have real young stars. The veterans are staying consistent, like aging better than they ever have. And I just think the league sees this playoff, sees what has happened, and Adam Silver and the other executives are sitting there beaming, because now they have real narratives where they really did not know what they were going to do post LeBron. I really think that like do you think 2020 through 2023 they were like, this is great?
No, I don't think so.
No. Like, and that's nothing to detract from the teams that did win the finals, and the Bucks and the 2022 Warriors and the Raptors. That's nothing to detract from all those teams. But if you're going to tell me that Adam Silver wasn't looking around, it's, how are we marketing this league? What is going to be the next big thing? Like is it just going to be, what this is, which is good basketball. Like, basketball fans are always going to watch. But now with guys like Wemby, when you have somebody like that in the league, now it's like we know the answer.
Right.
So I'm really excited about where basketball is at as a whole. I've loved this playoffs. I love the competitiveness and the chippiness of the playoffs. And yeah, I hope it doesn't end on a dud. But I, like I said earlier, I'm concerned with this Knicks team. As much hype as there is in New York with the Celebrity Row and with all the fans, how excited they are to be back in the finals for the first time in a long time. Guys, I think you're just a worse team of the team that they just beat.
That's why I said that like Dre wants it to be a competitive series. Well, it can be a competitive series. It's not going to go 7. It could be a 5-game series and every game be close.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, they get 1 game at home. If they get game 1 at home, New York's going to treat that like they won the finals. But I just don't. I don't see that. But I think too, having a guy like Wemby win this early is also the league. So, I definitely think we should record post game, at least if we can't do game 1, game 2 for sure. Like try to get as much as we can out of this series, because I'm excited for it, and gonna be plenty of eyeballs. And then I might not have time tonight yet, but if you'd like to talk some soccer, we need to talk some soccer. We got a World Cup coming. I will be in the crowd.
We can do it. I'm not
and I
working,
will.
so I can
Sweet.
I can be there.
Sweet, yeah, we can do it tomorrow afternoon after I'm done with work. And I will, if anyone's there, anyone that watches this, all 40 of you, whoever watches this, I'll be in the crowd for USA Germany in Chicago on Saturday. So looking forward to it. I'm hoping the boys can pull out a result or at least look good. Because they didn't look too bad versus Senegal. So
No, I thought they played pretty well. In my opinion.
there were moments where
There was a lot of discourse against Gino Reyna, but other than that, I thought they played pretty well.
he played fine. He could have been more assertive, but he wasn't a problem in the game. Like we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk. I would say
We'll talk. We'll talk about. I have a lot of thoughts. We'll talk about it. But thank you.
All right.
Thank you for all the
like
hoops
Dre always says, make sure you like, subscribe, like our page on all social medias, follow us for all the best basketball content. And this was Hoops After Dark.
Peace, guys.
Peace.